Where was I going? My ADHD is flaring up, Erica. Good God. I
Stick
like
with the
got on the
program,
side.
Kirsten, the slowing down the aging process here.
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh,
kidding.
I know. No, exercise is so good for your
It's good for
brain
the
too.
brain.
Thank,
Yeah.
thank God I exercise. Otherwise, who
We would
knows
have
where
lost
I'd
half our brain
be.
by now. I know. Um,
Embark on a journey to defy time with LMAO, Laughing My Age Off podcast. I'm your host, Erica Kelly, and I started this show because, like you, I'm curious about the secrets to staying youthful as the years go by. Join me as we discover the secrets to slowing down the aging process, exploring expert insights, cutting-edge research, and personal experiences that uncover the art of aging gracefully. It's time to laugh, learn, and embrace a life full of vitality together.
Welcome back to the Laughing My Age Off podcast. I'm so excited for today's guest, my friend Kiersten Gelfand, and she is a passionate wellness consultant, personal trainer, and coach who specializes in fitness, physical health, and behavioral changes. With a psychology degree and a master's in exercise science, Kiersten has been inspiring others since founding the Fitness Inspired in 2008. Through boot camps, wellness programs, and personal training sessions, she empowers clients with her signature blend of fun, accountability, and results. Yeah. There's a lot more I could have said, but we want to get to you. We want to meet you, Kiersten. And yeah, so I do want to just start off by, I always like to, if I'm introducing guests, how we've met.
Yeah.
And I felt like we met. It was meant to be. It's one of those synchronicities where, you know, you and I are in the same community of great women. We are, you know, inspired by all these really great women, and that's how we met. We met in a pod, right? You know, sometimes they put us in pods, and sometimes it's like magic where you find somebody, and it was magical that day, right?
Was. I am so grateful. Like, I just love those moments when you meet someone and you're like, yes, I'm so glad that worked out. And I have to give credit to both of us that we were like, okay, let's connect. Let's connect
Yeah,
offline again. So that was perfect.
yeah. I totally agree because we could have just let it sizzle and be like, that would have been great because you know how all things go. Life is busy, you have a family and just chaos all the time. And I totally agree with that. It's just we knew there was something there. We had to figure it out. And so that's kind of why we're here today. Number one, Kirsten's amazing. And I wanted everybody to get a chance to know her. She also has a podcast. What's it called? Inspired, right?
Oh,
Inspired with
inspired.
Kirsten.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Very easy to remember. So, but yeah, I want everybody to meet you because we have something in store for everybody that's listening. So we'll get to that toward the end here. But let's talk about, you know, Laughing My Age Off podcast is about slowing down the aging process. And let's talk about our ages. Let's just start off with that and being a little bit authentic here. So, when was your
I guess
birthday? How old
so.
are you?
We're getting right to it. We're starting with the age. I'm like,
How old are
great.
you? How much do you weigh?
I am 40.
Yay! So you're over the 40 mark, or you're at 40, but so that's awesome. That's awesome because you don't look like it and you probably don't feel like it. But yeah, how do you feel at 40? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So it's so cool because I've been doing this line of work for a very long time. And I was wondering how I was going to feel about like crossing over the threshold of 40. You know, I was like, am I going to be weird about it? Like, how am I going to feel about that? And I actually feel really amazing overall. And it's cool because I really think that, and this is an empowering way to think. So even if you don't agree with me in this moment, try it on for size, try this. But I think it's really important to remember that it's less about age and more about training and the way we treat our body.
Yeah.
Now, we're all going to have our like things, like we all have our things,
Hmm.
but that, a lot of times, like I remember working with a client, and this was a few months ago, and she was like in the coaching world, we love complaints too. Not
Yeah.
just goals, but we love complaints and not in the whiny kind of way. But I was like, tell me about some of your complaints, your challenges, your struggles right now. And she was talking about her like knees and hips and
Hmm.
as it relates to her age. And I was like, okay, think about me as a mom of young people. And this is just part of it, but like, think about if my kids were like, oh, mom, my knee hurts. And I'd be like, okay. And I would start asking questions, getting curious, right? As I was with her. But I would never think within at all, like, oh, means you're getting old.
Right.
Like, I
Like
would
it's a
never think,
sentence, right? It's like, oh, that just means, it's downhill from here. There's nothing I can do about it. I
right.
resonate with that too, because I'm in the Pilates field. So I've heard that, well, I can't do that because of this, because I'm old, and I'm like, well, we can modify.
Yeah.
It's almost, if you're listening to this too, we both understand that cortisol, right? And I think that's part of it. It's like we we like to complain because the body has just been so used to it and we feel like there's no way out. But I think you and I both agreed that there is a way out. And it really starts right here. And I'm pointing to my
Mhm.
brain if you're listening to this on audio, because it's something that I started to pay more attention to. And you can probably speak to this too. And in our spiritual group that we're in with all these great women, it's all about the mindset, right? And the repetitive thoughts that we have through our head. And if you're like the client that you're speaking about is saying, I'm just too old. I'm just too old. You say that to yourself enough, that's what's going to happen,
Yeah.
So what if we
Your brain
reverse that,
wants to be
right?
right. Your brain wants to be right. And so let's help ourselves out by not only like being empowered and going to training and going to the work that we can do, but also like know that it's kind of like this weird party trick. If you
Yeah,
try it on, like changing the way we speak,
checks out.
absolutely it makes a difference because our brain is going to try to and we're going to try to look for evidence of that.
So I'm curious. So how did you handle that situation then? You
Yeah.
know,
So with the woman I was coaching.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
know I see that all the time too. And not just in the fitness world, like you meet new people and they're like, well, if I'm trying to encourage people like, here, take our Pilates class, they're like, I don't know, I'm too old, like you said, or I don't think I'm good enough for that, or mostly it's fear of change too. That's that.
So in general, we got curious and I was like, what else could it be? Tell me about some signs, some symptoms when you notice it affecting you, right? Because we want to be able to move our bodies and our goal is to move our bodies healthy and well and dynamic and within a range of motion. And also, so we did a multi-prong approach, right? So there's the physical side of things
Hmm.
and like working on strengthening the muscles around it. And I also said, like, what else could be true about for the mindset piece of it, we are working on it in the moment, right? What else is another reason why your knee bothers you sometimes? So I kind of wanted to get her to the point of like realizing, and sometimes clients need to borrow my belief for a season and start in certain things.
Hmm.
And and sometimes I need to like explain the science behind it. Like
Hmm.
you were kind of getting to, there's the like, the chemical cocktail that
Yeah.
are thoughts and the interaction of hormones and everything that happens. But then there's also physical aspects, and it's really great to go at it from multi approach. If I could, I want to just like show how quick the chemicals in your body can change.
Yeah.
So can I tell you about this study that is like insane to me? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
We
brain
love studies. We love studies.
Okay. They were testing the hormones in your body and kind of like how quick your hormones changed. And the variable that they were working through was your stance. Okay. So it was like a power stance. Think of
Right.
like a squat is like a power stance. It's
Yeah.
open, strong, like the starting aspect of a squat. Or like maybe in like basketball, think about like an athletic stance, like
Sure.
that really open, strong stance. So after only 2 minutes in a powerful open stance versus like closed,
Right.
crossed, small. I'm showing that with my body right now. After 2 minutes, your hormones change. 2 minutes. So
Wow.
you and I both teach classes, and I say to my class, like, how many minutes overall are we in these strong stances? many more than 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's great.
After 2 minutes, they did this study like with people coming into interviews and stuff and everything. And after 2 minutes in this powerful stance, your hormones changed. Your cortisol decreased, the stress hormone, and your testosterone. Don't worry, ladies. We have testosterone too. It's good. It's okay. It's great.
We need a little bit.
We do, we do. And don't worry, if you're not taking it, you're not going to bulk up. I have clients all the time like, I don't want to be bulky. I'm like, are you taking testosterone? And they say no. And I'm like, okay, you're good. So anyway, their testosterone increase, and that helps with like focus. And like, I remember reading years and years ago another thing about like them testing how much testosterone after athletes were done with a match, a game. I think it was a tennis match. And there was some correlation with, when you're winning,
Oh, yeah.
your testosterone goes up too. So I thought that also was cool. So I wanted to say that like after 2 minutes is so empowering. And so you and I both are all about empowering people. And when we just like give up and say, oh, it's my age, that lets us off the hook of not even trying.
Yeah, I agree.
So
And
anyway, I'm all fired up over
Emma,
here.
I love that example of the winning part. Now the example you gave with the study was a tennis match, but I feel like anytime, and maybe you can agree with this, when you teach a class, I feel like I'm winning, because it's like you're on stage, you have that, you still get, at least I do, I still get that rush of like, it's almost like being on stage, because you're coaching all these people, you have all this energy and you're giving that energy, that's where I want to transition to in our conversation is the energy that you have is so important to slowing down the aging process, right? And you're talking about the power stance, but also just that blood circulation. I talk about a lot in the podcasts I've done because it really is the elixir. We talked about the cocktail elixir, that dopamine drip after you work out.
Yeah.
But just getting moving, whether it's walking, whether it's doing workouts and stuff like that, that drives energy, right? And that circulation. So how do you feel about, and you look like you got a lot of energy too. I think that's goes without saying when you cook a coach.
Oh, my energy. So no, I get so excited. I was getting so excited when you were talking about that. Like when we think about when we want to heal something, like for
Yeah.
example, I had a surgery in the spring, and this was a perfect reminder when I was like starting to heal right away. I asked the doctor with my scars, I said, hey, like, how can I make sure these scars don't get adhered? Don't, that I can
Stick
heal really
around. Yeah.
yeah, heal really well. And one of the things she said, it's really simple. It was like moving the
Yeah.
scar around, moving the tissue. And if you think about how the body heals anything, is like you need blood flow, oxygenated blood flow to get
Right.
the energy and the healing there and the growth. And when you even think about like, let's say you're doing resistance training,
Mm-hmm.
it's just as important. So in resistance training, we want to create overload. It's part of the process. We want to challenge our muscles in that way. And what's happening is like there's little tiny tears getting in the muscles. And that's a good thing if you recover. Like
Right.
if you are recovering, and that's how you grow. That's how you get stronger.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I was like coaching and teaching in college, like all the college girls, or like a lot of college girls tend to be like, I don't want to get big muscles. I don't want to. And I tell them about my friend, and I was like, one of the strongest women I know, she is smaller than me. Like she is just so strong. And
Yeah.
so we want muscles.
Yeah.
We want our bodies, and you look so much more youthful. You feel so much like if you picture like a vibrant version of someone, like think of like a vibrant winning, like you mentioned winning, like someone winning at life and healthy. You probably, whether you realize it or not, picture someone that has some muscle, has some postural alignment,
Yeah.
has some like bounce to their step. And these are all things that, to your point, like the whole point of your podcast is like, what can we do to kind of reverse the aging process? Is we
Yeah.
can train for it. We
Yeah.
can be bouncy. We can have muscles, and we can bring blood flow to all areas of the body. And
Yeah.
that's what can happen with exercise is our body adapts in such magical ways. We can look at all the systems. We can look at the heart. It's just incredible how our bodies are primed to adapt.
I just like to throw that in there. It seems like I touch on this all the time because it doesn't have to be something crazy, right? Of course, I would love people to join Pilates because I think it's the best thing. That's why I teach it. You know, you've got boot camps. And
Yeah.
so we all specialize in something for a reason. We fell into something, but fine. If you're listening to this and you're like, it's the new year, I'm thinking about doing something, find something, start
Yeah.
somewhere. So that's why I did this podcast. Really, it's just to give more ways and reasons why you should get an activity in your life, right? That blood circulation. And it doesn't sound sexy. I just feel like it's kind of gross, to be
It
honest. I don't
doesn't
like blood.
sound sexy, but it is sexy.
It is. It's like blood. I said that the other day in my class. You guys, you know what we're doing? Blood circulation. Like
Yeah.
it sounded like I don't know, a medical class, but it is. If you think about it and you get the blood going, and if you're in a high intensity interval training class, you feel it and you're like that. And when I stop for people to think, I feel like it means a little bit more. And you're like, oh, that's why I'm doing it. So I can live longer, and obviously my goal is for everyone listening to this to not end up in a nursing home. I like to just put it that way because in my mind, I think, when I was a younger age, like I visited a nursing home and it was traumatizing for me because the nursing homes back then were just like, that's where elderly people would go when you couldn't take care of them because they were either one, they couldn't really move, they were immobile or, other things. So let's just try to reduce that, slowing down the aging process by getting blood circulation. That's it.
And quality of life too, right? Quality
Yeah.
of life now and in our future.
Yeah.
And it's so motivating to think about and to be like you were talking about in class the other day. And you and I both just intuitively, because we've been there, right? When you're in class and you're feeling just so good, to notice how you feel better immediately too. And
Yeah.
that will help you keep on showing up for yourself
I
and for
know.
your
The hardest part is getting to class, right? Can you agree?
once you're there, you're great. Once you're there, you're great. And like, do people ever ask you, because you're the instructor, they're like, um, do people ever say like, oh my gosh, it must be so hard? I mean, I teach in the morning early.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, you just wake up like
It's
raring to
natural for
go.
you, right?
It must be natural. And I'm like,
No.
no, there's so many days, most days I would say that I don't want to wake up. But once I'm there, man, it is
Yeah.
magic and fun and amazing. I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. I totally agree. And this is just me saying this. Maybe you can agree, but I was like, I need you as much as you need me. Like, I'm showing up because, well, one, I'm the coach, but if you guys weren't there for me to coach you, it wouldn't give me a reason to be here. Right. So it works both ways.
And when you're in class, like right now, you and I both have taught in person and also, Zoom, but we're live. It's different than some of those other mediums out there.
Right.
And you and I are both, we can see the interaction. But the point is, when you're in class, not saying, listen, if you're listening to us right now, don't take this as I have to be in a boot camp or in a Pilates or nothing. If you're doing nothing right now, you can start with walking 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Like that can be part of it. I love walking. It
Me
is
too.
like my therapy. But I don't want you to be like all or nothing. That's not what I'm saying here. But I do want to notice that like you get these immediate benefits right away. Where was I going? My ADHD is flaring up, Erica. Good God. I
Stick
like
with the
got on
program, Kiersten, the slowing down the aging process here.
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh,
kidding.
I know. No, exercise is so good for your
It's
brain
good for the
too.
brain.
Thank,
Yeah.
thank God I exercise. Otherwise, who
We would
knows
have
where
lost
I'd
half our brain
be.
by now. I know. Um, Too funny. Yeah, memory loss is a huge thing. And sleep is a big important, and not to get on
Yeah.
tangents here, but sleep, making sure sleep. And, if we're
Okay.
doing a lot of things, which
Yeah.
you and I both are, I'm really,
Yeah.
that's one of my goals for this year is just not to rush. And I, I like to do a lot of things. And that's kind of a good and bad thing at the same time because it's just, but I think that messes up the brain a little bit. That's my theory anyway.
Yes,
So,
exactly. And what I thought of it too. So all those things, yes. And when you're in a class that's interacting, research has shown, and I can feel it intuitively as well, is we do things better and harder. We tend to burn more calories when we are in a group. We we don't stop when we're just like, oh, feeling like, I
that was
guess.
enough, right?
Yeah,
Like you could stop
exactly.
yourself.
Yeah, and we tend to keep going when we're in a group and we have that accountability. So, not saying you have to join our classes. We'd love for you to. We should invite him to what we're doing together.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, just kind of bookending what you're saying is the role of community. And
Yeah.
I've seen it in person when I was teaching in person and then now online. But
Yeah.
yeah, you show up even if you're in your bedroom, like I see your face, you see my
Yeah.
face, it's that live connection. And so yeah, let's invite everybody who's listening.
Yeah.
Kirsten and I are teaming up together because we both have all the energy. We want to give all the energy to you live. Okay. So if you already started something this new year, or maybe you were like waiting for like a sign, this is your sign. Here it is.
This is your son. Ah, I love it. It's perfect.
Okay. This is
Yeah.
going to be your 5-day free booty. Yeah. Booty as in your glutes. Okay. Camp.
Yeah. So it's January 20th through the 24th,
Yep.
2025. So join in right away. The schedule, we're doing 2 morning classes,
Yep.
5:45. That's Monday and Wednesday at 5:45 a.m. 45-minute
Eastern,
workouts.
Eastern
Yep.
Standard Time, depending on because
Yep.
where are you located?
I'm Eastern time as well. I'm in
You are
Ohio.
too. You're
Yep.
Ohio. Sometimes I think it's Chicago but anyway, anybody
Yep.
listening from Midwest, I know there could be Central Time. So just know
Right.
the morning ones are awesome. We're both going to be joining that one. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, if you can't do the morning, you're not a morning person, we totally get it. 7 p.m. is there for you,
Yeah.
Eastern Standard. I mean, come on, 7 p.m. That's perfect timing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Friday, we're going to be team teaching at noon. So at lunch or noon Eastern time.
Yes.
And there's going to be prizes, a surprise for perfect attendance. So if that is in the cards, you don't have to. Eric and I are both doing signups, but we're doing this together, right? And so one of the things I was curious about is like people, if they were planning on or like trying to come to every single class, awesome.
Yeah.
But if you can only come to one or two, that's okay. Still sign up. What's the easiest way? Let's give them the
Well,
ways to sign up.
it's gonna be in the link here. So you will have to go into
Yeah.
the link. Hey, laughing my age off listeners, is your booty ready for a brand new year? Then join myself and my good friend Kiersten for the free 5-day online booty camp. Yes, starting January 20th through the 24th. These are 45-minute workouts. No equipment is needed. You can do in your home, and they're designed to tighten, strengthen, and most importantly, lift that booty because a strong booty isn't just about looking great. It's about living longer and aging gracefully. So you can choose your date and time, pick one day or pick all 5. We have got you covered between morning, evening, and even midday. All right. So let's burn off those holiday cookies and start your journey to a healthier, happier you. Sign up is in the show notes. Let's make this your best year
Yeah.
yet. So we're
It's
doing a
fun.
flavor of Kirsten's naturally known to do booty camp. Obviously, I've got the Pilates background, so we're going to do a little buffet of things. So it's going to be keeping you on your toes, really. It's going to be so fun. We're going to have, I'm going to have some booty music. So,
Yee. I love it. Yeah. So it's so much fun. And correct me where I'm wrong, but I'm of the mentality of do what you can and show up before you feel like showing up. I know for some people that are not as like crazy as me, it might be scary. Well, it's scary anytime to like try something new.
yeah.
And but we really just want to encourage you to show up and do it before you feel it. And then once you're there, you're just going to feed off the energy and do what you can. Eric and I both give options, and we're doing this no equipment.
Yeah,
We
no equipment.
both,
That's a good point.
yeah, no equipment. You don't need that much space. You just go from your own home. I tell people like just the size of a beach towel is great.
Yeah.
And then you can work with what you got.
Yeah. I would recommend a mat though. Just saying. If you have like a little roll up mat, that'd be great. If not, grab a towel. And I just want to point out that action comes before courage, right? So again, action comes before
Right.
courage. So if you're thinking about it, you're
Right.
listening to this, be like, I really
Yes.
need to take action before you feel the courage, right? That goes with everything in life. So that's something I heard the other day, and I was like, I love that because so
Um,
many things you want to do in life, and you're like, I don't know, it's in your head, and you're like, I don't know if I can.
mhm.
So, anything else you want to share, Kiersten? I know we have a small little window here for us to talk, but it's been great. So, I want to thank you for coming on and, let us know how we can find you. I know on the podcast Inspired.
So yeah, it's like if you want to listen, it's just if you just inspired with Kiersten Gelfand, you can find it on any podcast medium. And like I said before, join our 5-day challenge. It's free. Why not?
Yeah.
Take that action, do what you can, show up for what you can. I had someone just starting boot camp new, and she was nervous, and I was so proud of her for reaching out to me and saying, hey, I'm nervous. And I said,
Oh,
what are you nervous about? And so we kind of talked through what she was nervous about. And one of the things is she was nervous about like one of her old injuries. And I said, here's the deal. We are going to be all about progression, all about progression. Do it what you can. And maybe even the first class or two, hold yourself back a teeny bit so we can keep you in the game, progressing along. And we'll get you there, get the muscles around the injury.
yeah, that's a good point. I also want to point out because I've had students who've been in my classes too, and the first class, they don't want to be on camera. And I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Don't come
yeah,
on camera in the first class. Maybe the second class. We do love to see your faces. Or maybe
yeah,
half the
yeah.
time you don't want to, I had another student the other day. They're like, I'm too sweaty. I don't want you to see me. I'm like being gross. I'm like, girl, we
I'm
are
so
gross.
sweaty. Yeah.
So I want to let everybody know you don't have to be on camera because I know it can be intimidating the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Baby steps. And the other thing is just because Erica and I, like my setup, I can see you if you're on camera, so I can help you with form and things like that.
yeah,
But the other participants are not looking at you because they're tiny. I spotlight
yeah.
myself so you can see
Good
the
point.
form. You don't see them. And so nobody's
That's a good
looking
point.
at
It's not
you.
like you're at the gym and they're right next to you sweating on top of
Yeah.
you. Hey, there's
Right. Right.
pros and cons to Zoom right now.
Yeah. And I can't wait to do it with you, Erica. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Excited.
Same
Yay.
here. Okay, let's do it.
Woo.
All right, everybody. We will see you at booty camp. Take
Woo.
care.
Sounds
Bye. And that wraps up today's episode. If you know someone who could benefit from a little boost in their health and longevity game, why not share this episode with them? Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your week.